Just a quick disclaimer before I start this video. This is not to put anyone down or to judge anyone's life decisions. This is purely a perspective I have developed over my time at school and at Oxford, and now even in the real world, that I wanted to share with you guys and just put out to the world, to anyone that might resonate with it or find some comfort in it. So take it as you will. The main takeaway is just find your why. You guys may know me quite well at this point. I'm Bartol. I studied mechanical engineering at the University of Oxford. But if you don't know me, I spend some time on here trying to help out with the university admissions process, showing ways of learning that helped me get exponentially better, and hopefully inspire you guys along the way to keep learning and keep growing. Other times I make more reflective videos sharing how I try to live a happy, fulfilling, and productive life. The only thing a person really needs in life to make it fulfilling and happy is a purpose. Tons of people have said that in the past, and many more will. But it is the essence of life. The purpose you are here for, your why. And half of life's difficulty is probably finding that purpose in the first place. For a lot of people it changes a few times throughout life. That's why people go through different phases, all in search for an answer to that big question of why am I doing this? And what got me thinking about this is, for a long time going through school and university, and maybe you're the same, I really had no clue why I was doing things. Which is a little bit absurd, but as a kid you can't really look too far ahead to think of why something is a better choice than another thing. You just don't really have that perspective. School doesn't really give much thought to teach it either, and in my family, everyone just went to university, and so I did too. But for me, that why was a little bit hidden. I loved my subjects, I wanted to learn about them just out of pure interest, and I wanted to continue learning about maths and physics. And so the logical choice was to continue learning, to go to university. So at that point, that was my why. It wasn't anything crazy, and it doesn't really have to be. But then at university, the game gets a little bit harder, and there are many different people doing many different things. So it can get confusing. However, what I saw were three distinct categories of whys in my friends and classmates at Oxford. And so if you're thinking of applying, or you might even be at university and a little bit overwhelmed with the different opportunities, here are the most simple pathways that could help you out so that you choose consciously about one of them, rather than kind of getting stuck accidentally in one of them and changing your whole career without even realizing it, just because of a single decision that you made without even knowing. In my opinion, there are three types of people that go through university in each cohort. The first one is the person that loves the subject. They love their subject so much that they want to go into deeper research. They stay on for their master's year, they apply for a PhD, they really get stuck in and get to the cutting edge of research, and then continue to become professors to educate future generations of students at university. This character is pure and quite rare. They know there is not much money in this path forward, and so what drives them is purely the passion for their subject, the lifestyle potentially of teaching, and a little bit of status that you get with being a professor. The second type of person I saw at university is the one that's doing their course in a very strategic way. And the majority of students at Oxford, I would say, act like this. The course and love for their subject is still there, but it's a little bit in the background. They really just want to get a good job out of uni and make a good career out of it. Again, nothing wrong with this. A lot of people at Oxford, probably the majority, were exactly like this. They're studying their course, they're doing well, but they're really grinding to get the best internships, spring weeks, and opportunities with big firms outside of university. They are really living in the future. They're trying to secure their future, create a career, and make that effort of getting into university and studying there with all the hard work worth it. The third type of person is the one that enjoyed their subject and stuck to a career within the subject, taking knowledge from the university to a job that truly uses it. For example, a computer scientist going into a software development firm, or an engineering student going into a company and applying that exact skill into their work. Less and less of these jobs are kind of available, and less people study subjects that have directly linked jobs. Coming out of university, I, as a mechanical engineer, could obviously stick to my subject and work in aerospace or mechanical engineering, but more and more people are going to finance, banking, management consulting, law. A lot of the nowadays prestigious jobs don't really have a subject requirement. Rather, they really want some general skills, good numerical capacity, and they have a very selective application process. But these jobs are quite general and not very subject specific. What I see is, because of the nature of work nowadays, there is less technical speciality, less expert knowledge, and you can go into a job that has nothing to do with your subject, just taking the transferable skills of problem solving and critical thinking that everyone likes to talk about. Now thinking of it, there's probably actually a fourth type of person. The one kind of in the middle of all of these. The one that loves the subject a lot, but maybe doesn't resonate with the style of further research and even higher academics. But also the type of person that doesn't really want to go into a job because of salary and only using a very small part of the degree, those transferable skills of critical thinking and problem solving. And to be honest, I think that is probably me. I loved my course, but I didn't like it enough to go into the depth of research at a master's level. I also admittedly tried, as did a lot of people, settling into a more corporate role where you have some numeric and those critical thinking skills. But to be honest, how critical is the thinking if we're all just sat in an office? And honestly, client satisfaction is the only critical danger that could suffer if we mess up. Now, there are a whole lot of aspects that I didn't really get to touch on, like variability in your work or the environment in which you do your work. And these probably make up about 90% of the feeling of purpose and fulfillment in your job, no matter the salary. And for me, that sacrifice of 90% of purpose is not really a big enough sacrifice to make for some job that I spend a third of my life in, no matter the salary. And for people like that, if that sounds familiar to you, like it is for me, you kind of have to make your own job. You have to make it fit around your own why, if you want your job to bring fulfillment and bring purpose. The way I found my why recently is, for me, I spend some of my day teaching kids maths in school. I spend the other part of my day tutoring students to help them with university admissions processes to get into Oxford and Cambridge. And for the rest of the time, I spend as a sailing instructor and skipper, teaching guests how to sail and enjoy the beautiful skill of sailing, and taking guests around my beautiful country, Croatia. These few jobs really touch on three things that personally give me fulfillment. One is teaching, two is sailing, and three is serving guests and making other people happy with my work. And what I did with these three is I just combined them, and that's kind of a career. At the end of the day, a career is just kind of what supports your lifestyle. And if you have the luxury of being able to choose, you should choose one that gives you the most purpose. The most important thing is just knowing your why. And going to university, it is a huge decision, but figuring out your why beforehand, or even while you're going through university, can really help clarify and guide decisions a lot better when they start coming in. Because you'll have so many opportunities coming in, and you need to filter them somehow, otherwise you will get overwhelmed. So sit down and think about it. What drives you? Is it money? That's fine. Is it status? Or is it the lifestyle that you could get with a job? Think about which one is most important to you. Being really honest here is the key, as it can shape a lot of the decisions you make in the future. You don't want to stay on a path too long because it seemed like the right thing to do then, a few years ago, and now you think it's a little too late to change. And none of the three, money, status, or lifestyle, are a wrong choice. They're personal to you. Everyone does their job for a reason, but what I've seen to be true, actually a lot of people don't know their reason. One thing, however, to be conscious of is the environment in which you are in. This can really shape your decision. And that is one thing that happened to me. I was very much guided by the thoughts of my friends and people around me at university, which is completely natural, but you really need to look inside and find what actually makes you happy, what actually brings you fulfillment. At the end of the day, it's your life and you're the only one accountable for it. So just find one. So just find something that brings you the most happiness. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. Find your why and the rest will follow pretty much seamlessly. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll link a bunch of other videos about university admissions here as well. But yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.